and we will turn to the award portion. The first award is our Industry Pioneer Award, and the Industry Pioneer Award is awarded to a company that has blazed a trail of innovation under extraordinary circumstances. Presenting this award to Regeneron Corporation is Sarah Oliker, the Assistant General Counsel and Assistant Secretary of ConMed Corporation and Chair of MedTech's Board of Directors. Sarah?
Thanks, Wynn. Long a leading science and technology company delivering life-transforming medicines, in 2020, Regeneron developed a novel antiviral antibody cocktail to treat COVID-19 and prevent SARS-CoV-2 infection, bringing hope to millions worldwide. Accepting this honor is Jim Leggett, Senior Director and Plant Controller at Regeneron. He's also Treasurer of MedTech.
Thanks, Sarah. Thanks, Wynn. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of Regeneron, I'm honored to accept the award. It's been a very difficult and extremely unique year for everyone. We've been faced with challenges in ways we'd never imagined. I would not have believed when I left my office in March that I wouldn't be back for almost a year. All of us at Regeneron are extremely proud to be able to offer assistance in a meaningful way during this pandemic. When it first started last year, we assembled, hundreds of our scientists down in Terrytown, and they looked at, potential molecules that could fight COVID-19. They narrowed it down to several of them. We eventually settled on the cocktail that we manufactured. Manufacturing, started almost immediately. It was pretty amazing, and we're just very happy that we can help and that we've earned this award. We're also very proud to be a New York-based company and to have a significant presence in the state. And Regeneron has always made sure that we kept as much of our activities in New York as we can. But we're also equally proud to be a longtime member of MedTech, and we appreciate all the support and guidance the organization provides to us as well as other life sciences companies in the upstate region. We've always appreciated the Government and Public Affairs Committee. They provide an avenue to keep in front of current legislation. And then also this spring, starting with the COVID-19 daily updates from MedTech, which were a fantastic resource, as well as some of the webinar series we had with Master Control webinar series and Propelling New York Forward. It's really critical to have organizations like MedTech in order to connect us and offer options and resources, especially in times like these. So again, many thanks, and we appreciate it.
Jim, thank you. Thank you very much. And please extend our thanks to the entire Regeneron team for all the work that you folks have been doing. Let me now turn to our Project of the Year. The Project of the Year honor is awarded to an initiative that has had a singular and demonstrable impact on public health. We are proud to offer this honor jointly to Upstate Medical University and Quadrant Biosciences. And presenting this award is Joe Chipari, Head of Assay Research and Development at Ortho Clinical Diagnostics. Joe?
Thanks, Wynn. So working together, researchers at Upstate Medical University and Quadrant Biosciences devised a saliva swab test to detect SARS-CoV-2 that is being used across the state and as part of a system-wide COVID-19 protocol at the State University of New York. Accepting this honor are Mantosh Dewan, President of SUNY Upstate Medical University, and Richard Ulig, President and CEO of Quadrant Biosciences. And maybe just one quick comment. As someone else in the diagnostic industry, I was blown away by the work that these two companies did together. It's really fantastic, and I'm really proud to issue this award.
Mantosh, maybe we'll turn it to you.
Yeah, thank you so very much. We are honored to accept this award and really appreciate it. I think this honors more than Upstate and Quadrant. It honors the public-private partnership that was sort of set up with Startup New York at the Bioaccelerator, where Quadrant is headquartered, and is so well run by Kathy Durden. We appreciate all the work that goes into that. But it really is a great example of having a brilliant scientist get his work where it really matters. Sometimes we get stuck with very good stuff in a lab. And so that's where Quadrant has helped us. I have to tell you about Dr. Frank Middleton. I did see him in one of these squares, but brilliant sort of is an easy word to underrate him. He's been at the forefront of neuroscience for a long time, took COVID seriously and converted his technology into a test. It's a saliva-based test, so it's much easier than the nasopharyngeal, which really is not comfortable. It's not painful, but it's not comfortable. So it's a very easy test. And as Joe was suggesting, it is the most accurate test in the world, saliva test in the world. That's impressive. And so it will pick up COVID where the standard lab test will actually miss it because it is more sensitive. So it's very nice that we could have this. And more importantly, there's another part of his genius, which is that he can use the same technology to combine 12, that's the norm we've been using, 12 saliva samples into one test. So it saves time, it saves on all the equipment and the support staff that is needed to do testing. And so that's what we've used to test 500,000 students at SUNY and other private schools, including Syracuse University over the last semester. That's pretty impressive. Now, just to give you a context, our standard lab at Upstate and the other hospitals here, basically we do 1,000 nasopharyngeal COVID tests a day. Just before Thanksgiving, Dr. Middleton's lab was doing 25,000 a day. Not 1,000, but 25,000. Without that scale, there was no way you could test 400,000 SUNY students across the state. So really, it has kept us open. It has kept us safe. It's a real tribute to both his brilliance and his genius. So thank you, Frank. I now need to sort of acknowledge the role of Quadrant. They're the ones who actually supported it initially and brought it to market. They are at the bioaccelerator, so we are very appreciative of that. But I think what I want to acknowledge is that we did these 500,000 tests for students at a rate, at a cost that is frankly below cost. And so Quadrant not only supported its development, does a lot of the work to make this work, but has subsidized all our colleges in staying open. That's not a great business model, so I do worry about them. But really, to their amazing CEO and Quadrant, Rich Ulig, thank you very much. It is an amazingly generous and supportive partner. We couldn't ask for more. So I'm going to turn it over to Rich now.
Thank you so much, Montash, and for all of you. I'm not that bad a business guy, so I just want to put that out there. But Quadrant Biosciences is honored to share this prestigious award with our partners at SUNY Upstate. And as Montash indicated, the development of this Clarify COVID-19 test has really demonstrated our combined ability to apply research expertise into an evolving global health crisis and then rapidly implement truly a cutting-edge solution at scale. The SARS-CoV-2 virus has had a devastating effect on health and welfare around the world. And please know that even though we're a little company, we're 50 people, we're honored to help the great people of New York navigate a path forward. As my colleague at Quadrant, Kayla Wagner, always says, we're small but fierce. So on behalf of everyone at Quadrant, I want to say thank you to President Dewan, to Frank Middleton, who I'm honored to say is a dear friend of mine, to Dr. Amberg, certainly Kathy Durden, and the rest of the amazing team at SUNY Upstate for your steadfast resolve to improve the health and safety of all members of our community. Without exception, it's a privilege to work with you, and I want to say thank you for the opportunity.
Mantash, Rich, thank you very much, both of you, and to your teams. I've had the personal pleasure to work with both Mantash and with Rich, and really the terrific team at Upstate, and so this is a well-deserved recognition. So thank you very much. Let's now turn to our third honor, a Distinguished Achievement in Clinical Research. This honor is awarded to an institution whose contributions to clinical practice in 2020 have measurably advanced medical research. We're pleased to give this recognition to the University of Rochester, and presenting the award is Jeff Champagne, General Manager of Emerging Technologies at Kohler Corporation. Jeff? Jeff, are you muted?
Thanks, Wynn. So through collaborative efforts with community partners, Doctors Angela Branch and Ann Falsey are leading efforts at the University of Rochester to increase vaccine trial participation by people of color, a significant advancement in the inclusion of underrepresented populations in clinical trials. Accepting this honor is Peter Robinson, Vice President and Chief Operating Officer at the University of Rochester's Medical Center. Peter, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Wynn. Thank you, Sarah Holliker and the board. First, let me offer my congratulations to both Regeneron and to Quadrant and SUNY Upstate. It's amazing that we have such assets and capabilities in upstate New York, particularly. I'm parochial. We are part of New York State as a whole, but this is certainly a credit to just a vibrant life sciences community across upstate New York. In that context, want to extend the thanks of Doctors Falsey and Branch, and on their behalf, acknowledge the recognition from MedTech, and very much appreciate it. As you point out, not only have they been in the forefront of doing clinical studies that focused on antiviral treatments, most notably remdesivir, but also have been leading clinical trial efforts around the country, coordinating them for both the Pfizer and the AstraZeneca vaccines. And so I think that this is just a remarkable duo that we have here, and they're really part of a much larger team that's been engaged with this. I can't tell you how proud we are of them and the great work that they've done and the speed with which they've done it. And underscore what Jeff said in his introduction, I think probably of greatest value and the thing that we're most proud of is efforts to ensure that the enrollment in clinical trials and therefore the validity of those trials was based upon a very diverse population that I think therefore adds credibility to the vaccine as it is deployed and hopefully gets into the arms of as many people in this country as we can possibly get it to. So thank you so much. Very much appreciate the recognition, and that's it. I'm done.
Peter, thank you, and thank you to the University of Rochester for really the incredible achievements that you have made to the larger biomed industry, and certainly as an integral part of the ecosphere here in upstate New York and across this region. We certainly appreciate all that you've been doing. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Wynn.
Let me next turn to our fourth honor, Outstanding Contribution to the Biomed Industry. The Outstanding Contribution to the Biomed Industry honor is awarded to a company whose efforts over the past year will have a lasting impact on patient health. We're proud to recognize this year Ortho Clinical Diagnostics, and presenting this award is David Ryder, Director of Strategic Marketing at Hillrom Corporation. David?
Thanks, Wynn. It's an honor to announce this award. A global leader of in vitro diagnostics, in 2020, Ortho Clinical Diagnostics developed a COVID-19 antibody test with a 100% specificity rate that has the potential to transform coronavirus disease detection and treatment. Accepting this honor is Joe Chaperi, Head of Assay Research and Development for Ortho Clinical Diagnostics. Joe?
Thank you, David, and thank you, Wynn. I realized this morning when I got up, I haven't worn a sport coat in about a year. So the one really great thing was a reason to maybe dress up a little better than I normally do. So thank you. Look, I have the privilege of leading a fantastic group of scientists and engineers, and Ortho's had a long history in infectious disease testing. And I remember the day when we were discussing how we were going to, be starting to shut down and work from home. And I had a couple folks in my office, and we said, we need to do something. This is what we do for a living. And we began development on a SARS-CoV-2 antigen test. And in 19 days, we had EUA on it, which was amazing. And it was a new experience for us because we had never done an EUA type assay. And that just springboarded. We did a second antigen test, or a second antibody test, and recently an antigen test. But I'm really proud of the entire organization. While I represent R&D, we like to say that innovation is a team sport, and it was amazing the number of hoops we had to jump through. Simple things like finding boxes quickly when there's no supply chain that's functioning, and getting the boxes correctly labeled, and just figuring out how to get things from point A to point B when planes aren't flying the way they normally do. So I'm incredibly proud of the whole organization. It's great to feel like we're part of the solution, and I look forward to the day when we're all vaccinated and we're all hopefully returning to normal. And I'm really thrilled that Ortho's been able to play a part in this. So thank you.
Joe, thank you. And, I will say too, as Joe Chaperi knows, Ortho has really increased its commitment and involvement with the regional partners here across New York. And I think, I hope for their benefit, certainly to the benefit of the larger ecosphere. And so, Joe, this is a particular pleasure to recognize Ortho Clinical, and we appreciate the work that you've been doing. Next, let me turn to our fifth honor, our ecosystem partner. The Ecosystem Partner honor is awarded to a collaborating organization that has distinguished itself in 2020 by its support of New York's biomed industry. This year, we're recognizing FuseHub, and presenting the award is Kathy Durden, Executive Director of the CNY Biotech Accelerator. Kathy?
Thanks, Wynn. Faced with an urgent need for increased biomedical manufacturing capacity, FuseHub expanded its services to include education and on-the-ground assistance to companies seeking to transition to biomedical and device manufacturing. Accepting this honor is Everton Enriquez, New York MEP Solutions Director at FuseHub. Everton?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Kathy, for this nice introduction. Appreciate it. Good afternoon, everyone. First, let me say thank you to Wynn and MedTech for this honor. And second, I'd like to congratulate all the fellow honorees, and I commend you for your great work, and especially the work you do here in New York State in support of manufacturing, and in particular, the medical technology field. And I'd like to offer special congratulations to a fellow honoree who is a timeless supporter of manufacturing in New York State, and one who provides great leadership for the New York ME program. And this person is Matt Watson. I'd be remiss not to really congratulate Matt. He's been a tireless supporter in every way. So thank you, Matt. So Wayne, I know you said I have only 2 minutes, and at FuseHub we've done so much over the last year that it's hard to find where to start. But I will say that when the COVID-19 pandemic hit in March, our executive director, Elena Gar, called a meeting to say that this is going to be big and we've got to do something fast. So immediately, we shifted our manufacturing grant to attract proposals to develop and manufacture ventilators and N95 masks. If you recall, in March, that was the big ask. We also turned our solutions program to address the needs of manufacturers who pivoted to develop and manufacture PPEs, particularly masks and face shields, including a company that needed capacity to package pipette tips to support testing, because testing at that time was really a big deal. In parallel with that, we continued our matchmaking effort by bringing resources to help facilitate the availability of PPE to where the demand was the highest. We reached out to you, Win, if you recall, at MedTech to work together to develop a process whereby we could link the PPE demand to the supply. We identified that as really a big hole. And Win, you agreed to look at the hospital as a source of demand, and we focus on the supply side for the manufacturing. You know, we became a hub for requests for solutions across New York State. And I could really go on, but let's say that we received requests and we diverted them to the proper resource and to where it was needed. So at this point, I'll just stop here and say, on behalf of our director, Elena, a fantastic, probably the best director anybody could have, and the entire Fuse Hub staff, I want to thank you for this honor. Really do appreciate it. Thank you very much and good night.
Everton, thank you. You and your team at Fuse Hub are really doing tremendous things. I will say, on a note of personal privilege, one of the difficult things about not being able to travel this year is that I don't get to run into Everton in all corners of New York State. I look forward to seeing him in sometimes the most unexpected places. So Everton, I hope we'll be back on the road soon so that we can see each other in person.
I look forward to it, Wayne. It's been a great opportunity and I enjoy meeting in these places. And thanks for your help during that period in March. It was great that you came and worked with us in those, on those planning sessions.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Let's now turn to our sixth honor, our economic development superstar. And Everton's given you a bit of a taste of that one. And I just want to say personally too, that I echo Everton's remarks. Our next honoree, Matt Watson, really has gone above and beyond and continues to do so every day in his efforts to drive economic development across New York State. The Economic Development Superstar honor is awarded to an individual who has shown an extraordinary ability to create positive change for New York's biomed industry. Presenting this award to Matt Watson is Salim Cheeks, the Vice President of Communications at AngioDynamics. Salim?
Thanks, Wynn, and thank you for the segue, Everton. In his role as SVP and serving as Executive Director of Empire State Development's Division of Science, Technology, and Innovation, Matt has responded to the coronavirus pandemic by assembling a team of organizations, individuals, and assets to help New York companies navigate this year of unprecedented change. And so I'm honored on behalf of the MedTech Association to bestow this honor upon you, Matt.
Thank you, Salim. Thank you, Wynn. Thank you, MedTech Board. I really appreciate it. It is a true honor. But I feel like it's really, this award is due to the incredible team I have behind me. The NYSTAR team is terrific. They're energetic. They're very interested in their work and passionate. NYSTAR centers across the state truly believe in the missions that they're doing. And that includes the Central New York Biotech Accelerator, Science Tech Law Center, Cornell Life Science CAT, Alfred CAT, and Fuse Hub, who you have all seen or are part of this group. Really appreciate all the support of these centers and our other 70 plus centers we have across the state. It's also partners like MedTech that make the work challenging or enjoyable and successful, constantly helping us address the challenges that we see out there. We brought all these different groups together at various times during this pandemic and continue to identify FDA experts that can help us dissect the rules and regulations that we have to continually monitor, recommending expertise to validate products and technologies, identifying PPE producers and who has excess capacity that we can match up to the demand, and also creating grant opportunities in partnership with Fuse Hub to try to address some of the PPE challenges and move people over to producing PPE right here in New York. We're also fortunate to win $2.6 million CARES grant that helped us do a lot of this work via NIST MEP. So we're very fortunate to have a strong network behind us, and it's really because of everybody that we work with that I feel like I'm getting this award. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Win. Thank you, MedTech Board. You guys are doing a terrific job, so keep it up.
Thank you, Matt. I will say to the audience, for those of you who may have had a chance to watch it or be aware, this week the governor has been rolling out his State of the State address with some initiatives and programs that I would encourage all of you to keep an eye on what folks like Matt and his colleagues at Empire State Development and New York will be doing over the coming months as we get some clarity around the budget, both at the state and federal level, and continue to look for opportunities to collaborate with one another to strengthen the industry, even in these challenging times. So Matt, again, thank you to you and your team. Let's turn to our seventh honor, our Groundbreaker. And the Groundbreaker honor is awarded to an individual who has demonstrated an extraordinary ability to adapt to changed circumstances. Receiving the award this year is Lisa Sonnenborn and her team at Clarity Clinical Research. And presenting the award is Irfan Khan, CEO of Circuit Clinical and Trial Scout. Irfan?
Thanks, Win. When the coronavirus pandemic threatened to terminate several Alzheimer's disease trials, Lisa and Clarity Clinical Research pivoted to teleconferencing, patient home visits, and online platforms to ensure the continuation of potentially life-saving trials. I can share firsthand that there was a window where only 10% of clinical research sites around the globe were open, and that Alzheimer's trials are among the most complex and difficult trials there are. So enough can't be said about what the great job that Lisa and Clarity did. It's a real pleasure to present the award on behalf of MedTech to somebody I genuinely admire. Congrats, Lisa.
Thank you so much, Irfan. And I'm so honored to be a part of this group and hear all of the wonderful things that everyone has done. I do want to start by saying, how impressed I've been by MedTech for all they've done this year to support not only their members, but their community as well. I did write a few things because otherwise, for those of you who know me, I could talk forever about what I do and how excited I am about it. But I wanted to say how this award is particularly meaningful to me, not only as a clinical researcher, but also as a small business owner. I really recognize the challenges that 2020 has presented to basically my colleagues, around the world. So this really means a lot. This year really pushed my team to our limits. The only reason I think we were able to keep these crucial clinical trials open, and these were clinical trials that at many times were the only hope for patients with certain terminal illnesses like Alzheimer's disease. We were able to keep going because of the unprecedented level of dedication of our clinical team, our collaborative community partners, and probably most important, our patients and their families. So when we first felt those initial impacts of COVID-19 back in March, we really quickly took steps working here locally, as well as working with national leadership to find ways to, in the simple terms, save our studies. We wanted to preserve the research that we were doing while also keeping our patients and families safe. So what we started to do was make unprecedented major changes in collaboration with our studies and IRBs to protocols that really were functioning around the world, using new technologies in research that had never been used before, finding ways to take clinical research out of a site and to patients in their homes, if that's what they needed. And also incorporating new technologies and testing like rapid antigen testing, and having sponsors work with us to be able to cover the costs of bringing that into clinical trials. So the effects that COVID has had on research is really shaking our industry. I don't think any of us can really grasp what the risks are for the future of medicine and human health because of the impacts of COVID on clinical trials. I know Irfan alluded to it, but one of the surveys that really kind of sank in or struck me was taken early in the pandemic, and 31% of clinical research sites feared permanent closure, and 77% of them indicated that one or more of their clinical trials had been canceled permanently. So as I look back on 2020, I do feel a tremendous sadness for all of the lives that have been lost. But I will also never forget an incredible deep sense of pride I feel for the global collaborative efforts of groups everywhere that have moved medicine forward through this. So I want to thank, obviously, MedTech, all of the wonderful folks we've had the chance to work with, who've supported us and who we've been able to support throughout the last year. So this really means a lot. Thank you so much.
Lisa, thank you. And Lisa and Irfan, I think one of the things that is particularly compelling about the work that organizations like Clarity and Circuit Clinical are doing is the commitment to continue the hard work of clinical research in the face of such obstacles. And certainly the needs that you folks have been filling did not stop when the coronavirus pandemic proceeded. And so to witness that persistence and that work from organizations like yours has been an incredible achievement. So thank you both. Let's now turn to our Biomed Catalyst. And the Biomed Catalyst honor is awarded to an organization whose support for and commitment to the life sciences has advanced the interests of New York's biomed industry. Receiving the honor this year is the Bonadio Group, and presenting this award is Jamie Grabowski, Vice President of Portfolio and Sourcing for AMRI. Jamie?
Good evening, everybody. One of the things that's impressed me, around our industry around the globe, and especially in New York State, is how everybody's come together to really solve a problem that's affected humanity as a whole. I think the biomed industry has been celebrated that way by people for the first time in a very long time. But I think some of the groups that help us function in keeping our businesses going through this tough time haven't been recognized as much as they should. Led by active and engaged problem solvers, Bonadio Group's team of CPAs, consultants, and accounting professionals respond to the coronavirus by deploying expertise in New York State's biomed companies to help survive and thrive through unanticipated challenges. Accepting this honor is David D'Onofrio, CPA and principal at Bonadio Group. David?
Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Wynn. First, I'd like to congratulate all the other award winners today. There's a lot of impressive companies and biomed projects and initiatives going on in New York State. I'm honored to accept this award on behalf of the Bonadio Group. For those who may not be familiar with the Bonadio Group, we are a full-service public accounting, tax, and consulting firm. We're a top 50 firm nationally and the largest firm in upstate New York. We have 10 offices across New York State with about 900 professionals firm-wide. So as everyone knows, this past year has really been crazy. Companies in all industries, including biomed, were financially impacted by the pandemic one way or another. The CARES Act and the PPP program presented great incentives and aid to small businesses. However, the programs came with a ton of questions and complexities. Who's eligible, who isn't, how do we apply, will the loan be forgiven, what costs are covered, just a ton of questions that came along the way. There was and still is to a certain degree a lot of uncertainty with how this is all going to play out. The Bonadio Group has really been front and center with these initiatives since back in April, assisting businesses with the loan applications and consulting management teams with helping them with budgets and cash flow projections and tax planning and other economic implications of the pandemic. We've offered free WebEx seminars and CARES Act updates that have really benefited companies and business owners in our communities. So, we continue to help companies kind of navigate the waters through the pandemic. There's still a lot to digest with the second round of COVID relief that's being rolled out now, with the new funding and the employee retention credits. It's going to be, a significant impact on businesses in 2021. So there's a lot going on, and we're glad that we've been able to help and be a trusted advisor along the way. So again, I want to say thank you to everyone for this award, and we appreciate the recognition, and we're proud to be a part of the MedTech community.
And let me, Dave, let me offer my personal thanks, as Dave knows, but I will reveal to this audience, you know, when the coronavirus pandemic resulting shutdown happened in February and March of this past year, we immediately at MedTech had to pause and postpone much of the work that we do in terms of in-person events and other activities that frankly were an important and are an important source of revenue to help us continue the organization. And Dave was, and his team was and continues to be, a steady voice of support to help guide us through those difficult times, be able to access some relief and help us kind of figure out the lay of the land. So Dave, to you and to the entire team at Bonadio, thank you for your steadiness. Thank you for your willingness to take calls from frantic executive directors who are trying to figure out how to keep the doors open. It has meant the world to us at MedTech, so thank you.
Of course, likewise. Thanks, Wayne.
Thanks. Let's turn to our final, but certainly not least honor, and that is the Newcomer of the Year. The Newcomer of the Year honor is awarded to a MedTech member organization that hit the ground running in 2020. And boy, was it a hard year to hit the ground running, but made positive contributions to New York's biomed industry. Sanatella Medical is this year's honoree, and presenting the award is Ben Burton, who increasingly looks like Jack Dorsey, the head of Twitter, but he insists that he is not. He is the CEO and president of Iuvo Bioscience. Ben, I'll turn it to you. Ben, we're not hearing you for some reason. Hang on, I think you're connecting to, I think you're good to go, Ben.
How about this? Better?
Perfect.
Okay. I'm sorry about that. So what I was going to say was, perhaps better than David Letterman or Grizzly Adams for those of us that remember those kinds of shows. But regardless, and I appreciate Joe's comments. My suit jacket has been standing in there or sitting in the closet to dry clean for the past several months. So I was able to bring it out today. So, but to the business at hand, despite this year's challenging business environment, Sanatella assembled a team of experts to launch advanced technologies out of research labs into the marketplace and is on course to commercialize a potential breakthrough in precision cancer screening, chemosensitivity testing, and regenerative wound care products. Accepting this honor is Aaron Crowley, co-founder and chief engineer of Sanatella Medical. Aaron?
Hi, everyone. On behalf of our company, I accept this honor with the deepest gratitude. To the MedTech Association, it's been a long couple of weeks, right, everybody? MedTech Association for recognizing us as Newcomer of the Year. We are truly, truly honored. For 2 years, we have pursued the commercialization of game-changing science, but it would not have happened without the vision of my Sanatella co-founder, CEO, Michael Crowley, and my very own dad. This is the 16th advanced technology venture that Mike has built and commercialized in both national and international markets during his career. From the start, we listened with amazement to Dr. Omar Al-Jatawi and Dr. Hani Awad, co-inventors of the bioengineered tissue that we now call the Sanatella Matrix. They explain the critical role that cancer stem cells play as the root cause of leukemia and other cancers, and the potential of using the matrix to help oncologists isolate and culture these cancer stem cells long enough so that they can do precision cancer screening and chemosensitivity testing. As a company, we have wholeheartedly committed ourselves and our own money to commercialize the matrix, not only to help cancer patients, because you see, that very same biotissue It attracts healthy stem cells that can be marshaled to heal wounds and burns and regrow bones. The Sanitel matrix is indeed a wonder of science and engineering. Our excitement about the potential of the Sanitel matrix has been infectious. More than 20 people, experts in their fields around the country, have eagerly joined our team over these many long months. These top scientists, engineers, and so many others have signed on to this venture, generally without compensation, I must add, because they also came to believe that the matrix is the basis for revolutionary products. They have honored us with the gift of their talent, expertise, and time. And I want now to recognize their contribution and to give them thanks for helping to bring the Sanitel matrix from the university laboratory to our new production laboratories that just opened a couple weeks ago here in our hometown of Rochester, New York. I am also grateful to have the chance to share exciting news. Moments ago, we launched our Indiegogo campaign to raise $500,000 to conduct 2 clinical trials for patients with acute myeloid leukemia and to expand our production of the Sanitel matrix products so that every doctor and every patient who needs them can have them. And finally, I want to invite you to join us in this great work. Please consider giving to our campaign. We have other customers already eagerly waiting, us sending them matrix for investigational research and other clinical trials. With your contributions, we can increase our production, and together, we can make a life-saving difference for your loved ones and patients struggling with cancer, and even those who are in remission. We can help patients suffering from terrible wounds. What better investment can you make? It would be our honor to have you join us so that next year we can report on the wonderful progress that we have all made together. Thank you so much.
Aaron, thank you. Boy, I got to say, the passion in your voice certainly brings to life just how critically important the work that Sanitella and frankly, all of our members at MedTech bring to the work that they do. This has been, as I've said, and you all know, an incredibly challenging year, a year of unexpected difficulty, a year of unexpected challenges, but also a year of unprecedented collaboration, of cooperation and advancement. It really has been an incredible year, and I want to just take one last moment again to recognize all of today's honorees and thank them for the work that they do every day to grow New York's biomed industry. Let me, before we conclude today's ceremony, also take a point of personal privilege to extend my thanks to 2 other groups. The first is the MedTech Board of Directors. I have received far too much recognition in today's award ceremony, and I guess in part that gets to be because I am in some ways the face of the organization. But this is an organization that is run by an incredibly talented and committed group of professionals from around the state who are driving New York's biomed industry. This is a board of directors that really rolled up their sleeves and dug in when we met at a year that we didn't expect to meet. And I want to thank each and every one of them. Most of them are on the call today. You can find all of their bios on our website. I would encourage you to do a little reading. I think you'll be as impressed as I am every day. And finally, I'd also like to thank Sarah Buckles and Joe Hunter, really the backbone and the workers of the MedTech organization. We've gone from working together to working remotely. Sarah and Joe did not miss a beat and have really dug in to help bring programming to an online environment, to work every day to make sure that we are doing what we need to do to promote New York's biomed industry. So Sarah and Joe, on my behalf and on behalf of the board of directors of MedTech, we want to extend our heartfelt thank yous to all that you do. So thank you one and all. With that said, that concludes the ceremony portion.